to lesson 2, one of my favorite lessons. And the lesson is titled The Law of Aerodynamics, Breaking the Gravitational Law. And the quote for the lesson is this: "Isn't it astonishing that all these secrets have been preserved for so many years just so we could discover them?" And this is by Orville Wright, one of the Wright brothers. And the story today is the story of the Wright brothers and how they eventually broke the gravitational law. So the Wright brothers were born to a family of a clergyman, and their father, who was a clergyman, used to travel all over the place, preaching and spreading the word. And so in his many travels, he used to come back with presents. And on this summer, on one of his travels, he came back with a present which was a flight, a model of a helicopter. And this model, he gave it, of course, to his children, which is Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright, who are the Wright brothers. And they were so obsessed about this. The Wright brothers themselves were very intelligent in school. And, there were students who were very, very sharp, in school, and they could be able to perform well. But they did not go to the university, They did not go to the university. And one of the Wright brothers did not go to the university because, he was hit by a hockey ball in the face. And so he could not join campus. And so the two brothers did not join campus, only their sister did. But both of them were interested in sciences. That was where their passion was. And so they started working on on the plane project together, and they started working on, figuring out if they could, fly or develop a flight. And they were obsessed with birds, and they studied birds, and they made many designs and failed many times. The Wright brothers are some of the people who really failed in history. But throughout their design process of figuring out how can we make something that flies in the air, and I'm thinking the inspiration came from the helicopter, they eventually got it. They eventually, after many tries, after many challenges, after many setbacks, these are people who did not even go to high school, or they don't go to campus. They really tried their best, and one day they took their model flight and they went to a high altitude place and they started it, and the flight took off the ground and it stayed on air, and it stayed for just a few minutes, and then it came down crashing. But those few minutes proved that their concept was a success. And so the Wright brothers eventually became globally known for making the flight. But also, they continued to produce even more flights, and they continued to make even more innovations. And the reason why we can see the skies today, we really credit it back to the Wright brothers, who really ensured that this went mainstream. And in the lessons today, we are going to look at the Wright brothers and their incredible story of the flight. So, the first lesson is, it is impossible. It is impossible to think an impossible thought. Anything that you think, you can do. The Wright brothers thought that they could fly, and they did. And let me give you the scenario of the Wright brothers when they were thinking that they could develop a plane. These are people who are interested in science, so I'm sure they knew about the gravitational law. They knew that everything that goes up comes down. That was the common knowledge of the day. But in their mind, they thought, maybe we could make something fly. Maybe we could break the gravitational law. And so that thought was so impossible, with the standards of the day, someone would call them crazy. But they eventually ended up doing it, and which proves that you can't think an impossible thought. Whatever you think, with the right effort, with the right energy, you can actually do it. And so the Wright brothers thought about the plane and they brought it to life. Number 2, tough times are meant to make you grow. You can imagine all the times that the Wright brothers failed, The Wright brothers pitched their ideas to many investors, and those many investors, including the US government, did not give them funding. It did not give them funding to continue their business, but they dedicated their whole life to bringing this thing to life. And even though they did not get the funding that they needed, they did not get the support that they needed, they failed multiple times, the Wright brothers still came out as a success, which is, a point to prove that tough times, if you look at them positively, if you use them as points of growth rather than as points of excuses, you will grow. Number 3, anchors are crucial. In the story of the Wright brothers, there is the story of their sister, who's really, in my opinion, one of the most important components of why we are flying today. It's because the Wright brothers would go to their sister, to talk to them. Their sister was their anchor. Their sister was someone who ensured that they maintained course, that they were always focused, that when they were stressed, they are the person they could talk to. So we need to know that anchors are crucial. Without anchors, the Wright brothers would have been discouraged. They would have left the whole idea. They wouldn't have flied. So anchors are so important, and if we want to fly, we need to find people we can talk to when we are down and people who can help us maintain course. Before someone can invest in your dream, that is the next lesson, you have to invest in it a lot. You have to invest in your dream a lot before someone can invest in it. And you can see it with the Wright brothers that they invested their whole life, their whole money that they were getting from their bicycle business. They invested their whole experience into this one dream. They were focused on this one dream, and they pressed on with time, with energy, before they could make it a reality. And so other investors came in later on, but it's after they had brought their idea to life. They had invested all of their effort here, and that shows commitment, that shows passion, that shows dedication, and that is what other people want to see before they can give you their money. Next, to build a house, you have to finish it first. To build a plane, you have to finish it first. And so the Wright brothers understood this principle, and they teach us this principle, that they had already built this plane in their head. They already knew how the plane would operate. They already knew that it will fly. And so they started to then put the pieces together in reality, but after they had already seen it fly in their head. So even us, we need to recognize that, you have to build it in your mind first. You have to visualize where your life is going in your mind first. You have to have an end goal in your mind first, and then your physical body can just begin to put all of those into life. Next, on the other side of fear is all the success that we've been waiting for. Such an important lesson. The Wright brothers, they took on a plane. They could crash and die, these people, when they were flying this plane. They could crash and die. But they went to the hill, they put the plane there, and they took it off, and they conquered their fear. They conquered the fear of the gravitational law, They conquered the fear that gravity would hold them back and it would bring them down. And when they conquered that fear, they discovered the law of aerodynamics, which enabled them to fly. And then finally, your gift will reward you. Your gift will reward you. It's amazing that the Wright brothers put their gift of science, into discovering the flight. And even you, whatever gift you have, be it public speaking, be it corporate training, be it management, if you work within your gift, it will reward you 10 times over. And then as a bonus point, this is the good comparison, or the great comparison as I call it, the comparison between the law of gravity versus the law of aerodynamics. And the comparison is this. In order for us to fly, in order for us to soar, in order for us to break past the limits, in order for us to achieve the impossible, we have to break the law of gravity to reach the law of aerodynamics. We have to break it. We have to break the law that brings us down to reach the law that takes us up. And with that, let's head to the practical skills for the lesson. And the practical skills for the lesson is very, very simple. The practical skill for today is for you to reflect on your life and your business and your career and to see what you've developed throughout the year and throughout, this course, and write down what lessons you've learned from this story and what 3 things you are going to immediately apply to your business or career to get you to the law of aerodynamics. So looking at the lessons that we've just learned, identify 3 key fundamentals that you will take with you today to ensure that you can begin to put this law into your life. Again, the law of aerodynamics is the law that will help you to fly. But in order for you to fly, you have to release, you have to break, you have to forget the law of gravity. And that is what the Wright brothers teach us. They teach us that it is impossible to think an impossible thought. And so whatever it is that you're thinking, you can do it. And with that, see you on the next one.